Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host, Matt Marrero, along with your other host,
Satish Ram, here to bring you the latest news on the Iowa caucus.
Yeah, honestly, it's getting to that point where it's just, wait, what happened? Well, couldn't watch Steven Universe.
Your nightly update happens to be that the early polls are showing that Republican candidate Ted Cruz is leading in the Iowa caucus, ahead of Donald Trump and Marco Rubio. On the Democratic side, with about 10% of votes still left to be counted, Hillary Clinton leads Bernie Sanders by about 3 votes. Republican candidate Mike Huckabee and Democratic candidate O'Malley have dropped out of the race officially. And now back to you, Matt.
Wait, really?
All of that was completely legitimate, I shit you not.
I knew the first parts were, So I have a question. Can I go to Iowa and just use my bias there? I don't want to talk about politics and which side that we're on, but I'll go to Iowa.
I was interested in reading the notes coming out of the caucus, apparently, because they poll people who, exit polls are very popular in these areas, and they'll ask them things like, would you prefer a candidate who, A, speaks his mind or her mind, B, they just promise change above anything else, a candidate that relates to my values, or a candidate that does not relate to my values, but, et cetera, et cetera. So apparently, out of the polls, some of the stuff that we took away was that Donald Trump is the leading vote-getter amongst those who do not have a college degree, and Ted Cruz is the leading vote-getter amongst the people who feel they want someone who shares and respects their values.
Interesting.
Cruz also seems to be leading in a lot of, the religious categories. But yeah.
Now, to be fair, we did watch Steven Universe. The reason why there was a cancellation, for anyone who follows us on our different social media accounts, what was going on was, because I didn't say it there, but I'll tell you guys now, we were going to do a special event that was going to work out well for us and also well for you guys as well, for many of you that enjoy our different podcasts, depend on different topics, right? So what was going to happen was we started off with Monday Night Raw. We were going to end it in the hour and a half, and in a kind of after hours thing, right, during the archives, we were going to do an episode, a podcast on Steven Universe for you guys. And, and of course it would be re-aired later if you didn't get to hear it in the archives live.
So
you would have cut it.
Everyone involved.
Yes. But I'm not going to mention what cable provider I have, but what I can tell you is, for some reason, which this has happened, a little bit before in the past, the entire episode of Raw was dropped. Dropped as in the channel did not work. Now, why is this an issue? Because, obviously it's an issue because of our podcast, but here's the funny thing, right? In the past, I've just been able to switch to another room in my home, and the channel was kept intact, and I've told you about this, Satish. For some strange reason, though, throughout the house, the channel had issues. So I don't know if I blame the cable provider, if I blame USA Network. I don't know who to blame because you have a different provider, not talking about which one, but it worked for you, clearly, because you can tell me everything that happened during Raw with no hiccups whatsoever. And it's so bad that, my DVR also has, because it was recording it, also has issues. So the entire thing is just completely fucked. So will we have Raw by tomorrow? Yes, of course. Doing this live on a Monday? Yes.
We'll take care of your Raw fix tomorrow night. If you're listening live and you're wondering, hey, what's up with the lack of a Raw podcast and why was Satish making political jokes?
Because it's gotten to the point where it's just, did they even see Steven Universe? We don't even know. Thankfully, we were able to see Steven Universe, so we're doing episodes 15 and 16. And, of course, as always, we mentioned, depending on what episode guide you're looking at, maybe a little bit shifted because of when episodes were produced, and that's based on that episode guide, but we're doing them based on air date order. So episode 15 to us is Keystone Motel, and 16 is Onion Friend. And, of course, 15 and 16 in Season 2, if that wasn't abundantly clear. So that's all we're doing tonight. No mentions of Raw. Sorry, everyone. But from what I hear, people wrestled, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone. I don't know if I spoiled it for anybody, but people were wrestling. I know I should have watched
man.
I know I'm so fucking sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. Shit.
I will say one wrestling-related thing though that I'd like to get on the air.
Should I not mention Nakamura being on Raw? Or?
fun. But no, so Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt were both absent from Raw, and that's because their grandfather is apparently in the hospital. So I just want to send, some good wishes from those guys.
Oh, of course. Now, you freaked me out for a second because we have this jovial tone about us, and you're like, oh, they're missing from Raw, and I'm like, haha. And you're like, because their grandfather. I'm like, you're a fucking monster.
Yeah, I just want to throw that out there because, why not? Let's...
No. Good vibes generally, just good everything being thrown their way. But back onto a Steven Universe kind of mode. So, which one did you like more, Keystone Motel or Onion Friend? Because I might go for Keystone.
This was weird. I've actually been waiting for Onion Friend for a long time on air. Because,
you have, yes.
I don't want to spoil things, for people who were listening to us, like, let's say, like, they were marathoning the show and listening to us, et cetera, et cetera. Because there's actually a plot development here in a way, or at least something that's very important that I keep mentioning.
Oh, yeah, no, it's huge.
Right, so Onion is related to Sour Cream. They're stepbrothers. And Vidalia is Onion's mom.
Okay, so then it was confirmed that because it sounded like they were trying to say that she had Sour Cream before meeting Onion, like the You see it sounded like she was...
Apparently what it is that Sour Cream, from what I understood, Sour Cream is from Marty and Vidalia. And
Marty
Onion,
being the asshole.
Marty being the asshole, Greg's manager.
Yes. Now they didn't make this abundantly clear, but just the phrase, "Oh, how's Farty Marty?" And that's the only Marty we've ever heard of. He shares I know we've seen on the internet. He shares characteristics with Sour Cream.
Yes, physically, and so it's very interesting to me.
And there's such a huge age gap as well.
Yeah, and on top of that, it looks like Yellowtail, is that what they call him, the fisherman?
Yes. Yeah.
Is Vidalia's squeeze now, and I assume he's the father of Onion.
Well, yes, that is obvious, especially because they look alike, they really do. But it was so interesting because you would think that they could both be his, but it's just, how do you ever hear, do you hear from Marty? Oh no, but I'm married now, and it's just like, oh, so then you would assume that because of the age gap, because even if Onion has to be 5. Because I
assume he's a little older.
But he's very shy. But I would assume he's 6 or 7. The way he doesn't I'm not saying he doesn't know actual words, but he's very shy and reserved about speaking and everything. So he might be 6 or 7. But I don't think he's not 10. I'm not saying he can't be Stephen's age.
Right.
Yeah. So he has to be younger than that. He has to be at least 6 or 7. And that would lend itself to the age gap, where it's probably a 10-year age gap, or a little bit, maybe a little bit less, maybe a 9 or 8 year.
Now, let's see. At the time of this episode, Steven's maybe 12-ish or 11. Probably 11. So Onion's. It seems Onion's younger, or is at least really, really, really shy.
No, it's just, the way he's drawn as well. He seems younger. Whatever Steven's age is, he's younger, clearly. In my opinion. And it just lends itself to that age gap, because the idea that, he had... Because, Amethyst remembers Sour Cream, but not Onion.
Right, so you put that in perspective, which is a really good thought process. She does remember Sour Cream.
Yeah. And he's 16.
Right. Sour Cream about 16, and she does remember that. It's been a couple of years.
Well, not even a couple. It could be depending on how old Steven is. Let's say he's 10. Let's just pretend he's 10, right? That would mean that Sour Cream would probably have been 6 if it was 10 years ago, or 10 plus years ago. Because when she remembers Sour Cream, she was when I remember I was bigger than him. And Amethyst is pretty short herself.
Right, so he must have been a really, really young toddler at the time.
Yeah. And then, they got busy, and, the way gems are with their years, for her, it was probably just she just blinked a little bit. And it's oh, shit, I haven't seen her in a while. Or has it been a while? Because I assume after... I don't know how gem time works, but, the way human time works, I remember hearing this, reading this article where it's the reason why humans aren't built to live forever is because if we achieve at least even just 500 years, right? After a while, your brain just starts losing, the concept of quote unquote time just starts being lost on your brain, right? So the idea that you kind of just blink, and now you blink and a second goes by, but after about 200 years, you blink and maybe a month goes by or something like that. Time starts to become less valuable to you because you've gone through so much, and your brain isn't able to handle all of that information. So I don't know how it works with gems, but just the idea where I assume, and they know they have the concept of days, the idea of, this is a day, this is a month, whatever. But, clearly I assume someone like Amethyst is just, I haven't seen that person in a little bit. It's been 12 years.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting how they got to this episode too, where, excuse me, I remember watching it way back when it first came out. I remember sitting there whoa, someone paints Amethyst. That's really interesting. But I remember it's Onion Friend. And it's oh, yeah. But we're talking about, it's just funny, Onion Friend came second, didn't it?
Oh, no, it did. You just brought it up, so I talked about it for a little bit. But no, yes, we have Keystone Motel that came up first. And I really do like Keystone Motel. As much as I love Onion Friend, and I think Onion is such a weird little dude, and I like that. I think I like the interaction between Ruby and Sapphire a lot in Keystone Motel, and that episode was a great way to push forward the whole concept of just Garnet forgiving Pearl, even if it's just something minor, and not an actual, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, in terms of the way Keystone Motel went on, because I think I can understand it. I like when I can relate to the characters. And that's a bias, but I like when I can relate to the characters. So Garnet always has to be in control of her emotions and be the mature one and be the leader. And I get that on a spiritual level for me, the whole debating voices thing, because I really like the exchange between Ruby and Sapphire throughout the entire episode. And how passionate they both were, because it's funny, people say, Sapphire was really calm because of her voice, right? First off, later on you could see her bawling, so she was really upset. But also, what I thought was interesting, it seems like their elemental effects, the side effects, activate when they're both, distressed. So Ruby was on fire in the pool. And so you can say Sapphire was calm, but she froze the entire room. So
I know
she was under distress, too.
Also, what I think is interesting is when they're when they complement each other, you can have Garnet using future vision, but not overpowering, not using it all the time. But when they're split, it feels like that's just what Sapphire has. So it's interesting, just every little question, it's just immediately answered. And sometimes in annoying fashion, where it's just, that will not make Ruby any happier. But I know what you're trying to say, but it was an interesting exchange, I think, because it's the idea of someone who feels as if their other half knows them all too well, but they literally do because they know the future.
Yeah,
so I think I love it in this.
I really love the line at the end where Sapphire basically is I keep looking ahead to the future when everything's resolved, so I forget to value your emotions in the moment. And that's true. That's something for me. I understood because I worked really hard trying to control my emotions and become really logical over the years because that was the only way I could manage my depression for a bit. So I had to be in control. I had to be logical about everything. And mentally, it's this will blow over, or it's a minor thing. It'll be fine. And because of that, I used to fail to understand that someone else could see it differently than I did. This was years ago. And the idea of, something can affect someone emotionally that might not affect me. And that sucks because you have to, if you make someone feel like their emotions aren't valuable or you downplay how they feel, you're probably going to get emotionally punched in the face. Because that's the worst thing. If someone's upset or sad, to undermine them.
Also, to be fair though, what I do like is that because of the way you're able to kind of see a situation and see how it maps out, normally you have been able to help me in a situation where I've been like, oh, so, me and this person, how's it going to work? And usually you're like, actually, just this, and this will work out. And 9 times out of 10, it works. Right? I mean, you can't be perfect. You don't actually have future vision. So for a human being, you actually are good at mapping out a situation, funnily enough. But I understand the idea, though, that, you're talking about yourself years ago not being able to actually think about the emotional side. Because you do that now, of course. But you're Garnet now.
It took years, I think, to get to where I am. And, I feel like I'm very much in control now. But it took a really long time to be in control of, my emotions and my thoughts the way I am. And it not even close. People say, oh, it didn't happen overnight. It took years. You know, and that's a realization that you do need something sometimes. You do sometimes need a moment to, actually where you screw up a little bit, to realize what you're doing wrong. And I really liked how they went about it, because it wasn't anything Ruby or Sapphire said. It was the idea of, they both love Steven so much, and seeing Steven that sad was so significant to them. Because they can't deal with that. They don't want to, it's the idea of the parents fighting and seeing the kid sad, and then you realize, what are you really doing by fighting? When something goes on, you have a world around you that you affect. I mean, this is something that is touched on in sociology a lot, the idea of, the systems that we live in, and that our actions very much, supersede just, if you have a problem at work, you might bring it home with you. Or vice versa. If things are going great at home, or you might bring that to work with you, you might do great at work or something like that. And actions have consequences beyond just yourself. And that's why, you have to be very considerate to everyone all the time.
Yes. What I did like, though, is that, this episode, and even Onion Friend, right? This one was more plot than Onion Friend, arguably, but what I enjoy is the idea that they weren't, they are filler, yes, in theory, but they aren't made to be filler in the sense that it's not as if this episode started with them just going to the motel and not even referencing Garnet and Pearl. Also, same thing with Onion Friend, as if they didn't know. They had little references in there to make sure that all of you understood, hey, this is still happening. This isn't as if we've forgotten about it, and we just want to make an episode where Onion and Steven hang out, or an episode where they go to some motel, and shenanigans cause Steven to be cold or hot, right? It was really nice to, be able to have that continuity there. And also, I think it was really nice to see that, Greg is obviously used to this. We haven't seen Greg see Ruby and Sapphire. But of course, I think it would be silly if at this point in his life, being with the Gems for this long, he didn't realize that Garnet was a fusion. Yeah, he didn't realize it during that flashback, right? But after years, it had to have happened once. Or at least he could have known that that's what happens, right? He was with Rose, and, and Rose was very open about a lot of things. So, yeah, it was just... but it was just nice because, we didn't know if he knew. And it was just a nice little, a quick little, so where's the other one?
Yeah, and I liked it, too, because, it is also, a combination of exactly what you said. Logically, he must have found out at some point. He didn't know then, but just like us, we found out, too.
Yeah. So, they're completely different circumstances, but yeah, he had to have known at some point, and I loved it. What I think I loved the most is, and it was a line that I didn't catch at first, I think, because it was so quick, and it could have been, I think it was hard for me to hear at the time, and even this time I was like, wait, I think I got it. When Greg opens the door and Sapphire says, Steven won't like it.
He's not going to like the square. Yeah, I love that.
And I was just like, wait, what? And then all of a sudden he opens up the pizza, and it's square. And like me, I don't like square pizza. So I'm like, this is hilarious, especially because it's just, son, one day you'll learn to appreciate all pizza.
I love it was
like a haiku.
His face when he said that. Right. It was almost poetic, you learn to appreciate all people. He's talking about pizza.
Just one day, pizza will be your friend. All kinds of pizza in this world of pizza. Greg Universe. But yeah, no, it was really fun, I think. And then also seeing them at the diner as well, because, you know, I mean, it was obviously it was a little awkward and rude because, you know, of course, like kind of, if you've seen parents fight before, it felt like that. And it was like, the amount of awkward right now, like the actual fight in the restaurant, but, or in the diner. But I think,
yeah,
you know,
the public fight is hard to deal with.
Yes. But the two of them making up right after definitely helped. Of course, you know, also Greg just going, you know, paid for the food and the damages.
Yeah.
It was great. Just because, they were significant.
It was nice.
Yeah. Also, I think two of them flirting was just adorable. And then, of course, Steven's reaction was just, I'm a child.
I love it, too, yeah, because he's still not really about that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, it was just so funny because I think the cutest thing, I think the thing that really threw me off was where I really thought like, wow, these two are in love, because you know it, but of course you see them as Garnet, so you're like, yeah, they're one person or they're one being. It's just the whole like the laughy sassy thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, it was just Steven was like, like just lays on the ground like, yes, I've gotten them to make up, but at what cost, me? At what cost?
At what cost to my eyes? Where is the eye bleach?
Oh, very interesting to see that, speaking of eyes, that Sapphire had one.
Right, this was the first time that we saw that. I forgot.
Yes, because of course, you know, we see Garnet with three eyes, but I mean, it doesn't really come off, even as a fusion, it doesn't come off as, oh yes, because one of them had to have one eye.
Right, we never
it doesn't
had
pop
that.
into your head.
I think this was, I remember we were all sitting there like, oh, like in a happy way.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was done very well, I think. You know, the makeup scene and just everything in general was done very well, because again, it was nice to show that dissension, because you always have those voices warring in your head. But also, I think as a couple, regardless of what kind of couple you are, you will always have disagreements like this where, you know, if let's say you have someone that you both know, one of you might say, oh, let's forgive them. The other one says, no, not so fast. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And you always have these, you know, even though technically what's also interesting is they both felt exactly the same. So it wasn't even like one of them said, oh, no, I feel just fine about this. No, they both felt exactly the same, which I think was also interesting. You know, we get back to what we said earlier, the idea that they both felt the same, but one of them knew the past that was, you know, what was going to happen, so they didn't stay in the moment. But it was so interesting to know that, you know, both sides felt, oh, no, you know, like you take it a little bit as a joke, but when Sapphire, you know, she really meant, like, no, I am a ball of anger right now. Like I am, you know, I am.
She was
rage.
really upset.
But we take it as a joke because it sounds a bit like that Black Dynamite thing, or that whole, you know, it's just, oh, you know, like you're just some guy with I forgot what it was, something and a smile, and, you know, and he says something, and she was like, so where's your smile? And it's just Black Dynamite, just not even, just like looking normal. It's like, I am smiling. Like one of those situations where it's just, you know, oh yeah, you know, or it's just like, oh, you angry? Of course, I am furious.
Mm-hmm.
But you take it as a joke, but you obviously saw as the episode went on, you know, the entire room was freezing. She was pissed. You know, Sapphire was pissed.
Yeah, because
so I really
time, you know, even if you show like, oh, you know, I need to be mature here, it doesn't mean you're not upset. It means you're choosing to try and be
exactly,
you know, the bigger person here.
Mhm. But yeah, no, it was such an interesting, you know, situation. Also, just Ruby not understanding how pools work was great, because of course, you know, Ruby doesn't need to breathe. So
I know, I love that so much. I also love Steven's reaction. Like at first, it's like, it's a warm spot. Oh God,
it's boiling.
And I felt so bad because he turns like sunburn color, you know, and then immediately after, he has to walk into like ice world.
Yes. What I did enjoy too is the fact that basically Greg giving this real world outlook. I know it's used for humor because it is funny, but this real world outlook on. So I'm going to meet a guy on the internet. If I'm not back in an hour, call the cops. Oh, dude, that was so funny.
Because it's true.
Because it's true.
the general like ideas expressed, I think, early on was just really fun for me, because like the idea of a motel and a diner, like okay, I don't think I stayed in a hotel until I was like maybe 16ish. It was only motels.
Yes.
So, and I love diners. I grew up going to diners.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of like a motel and a diner and talking it up and still being happy about it, I just smiled at it because it's like, I understand. You know, we don't come from too much. I understand. I love those things. And then I loved his immediate reaction. It's like, yeah, I'll come. It's like, wait, hold on. It's not actually, like, for us, it's cool. But, you know, it's no luxury.
Yeah, no, it's more so it's like I'm doing it for the kid. You know?
Yeah.
Also, the whole just, I'm going to sleep here. Not until we check for bed bugs.
I love that because very realistic. Tip to anyone who stays in a motel, always remove the first pair of sheets just to check. And when you go into a motel...
Anyone, hotel too.
Yeah, and turn on, motel or hotel, turn on all lights and faucets and check all drawers. That way if something's broken from the start, they won't blame you for it when you leave. All jokes aside.
Yes. No, well, hotels won't have that usually, but like that problem. But, I mean, bed bugs are something that can even be in hotels, man, you know, because they're just so fucking elusive, I'll just say, that, you know. Though it's always interesting when it's just, all right, I'm going to check, if there's any bed bugs here. Let me put down my bags and everything. And it's like, leave the bag outside. Be careful.
Or keep it on you for the time being.
Yeah, you know, because, again, they're very elusive and, you know, little fuckers. But anyway, so... You've had an
encounter or two with those, I think.
With the third kind, yes.
Yes.
But anyway, so point being is that it was very realistic dialogue, and I like that, because not as if the show has been non-realistic. I mean, it's fun. It's not like the show's not been realistic. Gems, Matt, gems. Living, breathing gems. But in terms of interaction via the characters, they've been very real thus far, and I really like this episode for some of that realism. You know, even just like, again, just stuff just like, oh, you know, the kid doesn't like square pizza because he's from New York. Clearly they went to Jersey, by the way. But anyway, so they're in New York, where they have different pizza.
It's funny, by the way, those kind of jokes, like, in terms of what's going on. But they're from, I assume Beach City could be anywhere on the East Coast type. I always just assumed like that, because
I don't know. All I know is Beach City. Beach City is not a state.
Like an Ocean City type thing in Maryland, and so in my head,
okay.
Maybe they do go to something like Jersey, because.
Well, no, I mean they went the state over. So the point is that they didn't it wasn't like because I know in their world they have Beach City and they have Ocean Town or something.
Yeah, well, wasn't Ocean Town like you don't want to talk about that?
Oh, then maybe it wasn't Ocean Town. No, because I remember it was kind of a thing where it's just like, you know, the whole, like, they're our rivals. No, you did want to talk about whatever.
Like, die?
Then maybe I'm thinking of a different town, because I remember there was a town where they were just like, you know, we're Beach City, but it's not like we're from Ocean Town.
Right. No, but, like, I remember that, but wasn't there, like, a tragedy that happened to it or something?
Maybe eventually. I remember it more so like the high school rival thing.
Like
rival football team.
Both. Like, there was, like, a little joke about it.
Okay.
It's like, hey, at least we're not Ocean Town, ha, ha, ha. And it's like, oh, yeah, poor Ocean Town.
Oh, my God. But anyway, the point is that, so it's not, you know, a town in the same area. It's literally a next state over kind of thing. They drove for a while. We didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
But,
the state's called Keystone, by the way. The Keystone State.
I love that. You mean a state called Keystone? Yes, Keystone.
I got a good laugh out of it.
I did like, though, again, I just love the concept, because the concept is pretty real, I think, for anyone old enough to just go, man, it's actually a lot cheaper to drive and buy this thing. Like, I remember once my dad he bought a car from Florida, a van, because it was just so much easier and cheaper to actually pay for plane tickets to go to Florida and buy this car and then drive it for 22 hours back home than to buy it locally.
Amazing thought, right?
I don't know how it happened. I don't know how he thought that, what he calculated, but clearly to him, and I assume he was correct. I can't ask him now, but fucking, it was just an amazing deal. And I said to him, I said, "You really gonna drive 22 hours?" He said, "Yes," and he did. And we had that van for a while. It was great.
Well, it was worth it then.
Yeah, no. So it's just the idea of just, I'm gonna meet a guy if I don't report back. You know. But because the whole call the cops thing, but also generally just I'm gonna drive the next state over just to get some brushes, right, for his car wash. It's just wow, yeah. But so which one did you like more? I don't think we got to answer. You got to answer the question.
No, I was saying it's weirdish for me because Onion Friend I liked because it gave me some stuff, and I can finally talk about it, But Keystone Motel was good in terms of like the lessons type that this show does give.
Right.
In the sense of like, hey, this is the things you should know. Like the idea of, hey, adults can mess up, kids can mess up, everyone can make mistakes, but it's okay. If you actually talk it out. What I thought was really interesting was the idea of like, I guess, I don't know how to describe it, but they were able to mix in what felt like mature stuff here again, and nobody gets too upset. I mean, you look at Ruby and Sapphire, I mean, they basically kissed on the neck. It's like, hey, we're okay now.
Yes, little stuff like what the show's very interesting in, like, what's quote unquote a little bit more, I guess I'll use the word risque, stuff that they do, because it's, Cartoon Network, I think, and even Disney to a certain degree, at least Disney XD, referring to Gravity Falls, they'll push the envelope a little bit based on, what, for television, because they know that it's not just kids watching. And even then, like, it's not as if that's unhealthy to see, Now, mind you, I mean, it's such an interesting thing, we're in a world where it's, while they do restrict violence, like blood on television for kids, you'll still have people doing hand-to-hand combat, and it's just like, fight to the death, and like that'll be appropriate dialogue, and it's just like, should the main, two main characters kiss, you're a fucking pervert.
But I think also what's part of it too is that although the genders are not defined with the gems,
right?
We is Ruby looked at as Ruby's technically looked at as a girl, right? But I don't know.
No, there is no. There is no actual like girl gender, but they all have feminine features. So arguably,
not that.
It's LGBT love. What? If you're trying to go
for. But I was going to say the show uses pronouns though. That's what I'm trying to ask about. Like, I'm sorry if I came off wrong.
Did they do that? I never actually noticed.
Because the show will use pronouns to refer to gems, though. They'll say, like, she.
Wait, but do...
but I'm asking, do they use one for Ruby?
No, because... no, I've never heard one. My question is, does Amethyst say the pronouns, or is it Steven saying the pronouns?
I think it's Steven.
Okay. Because Steven is putting his earthly twist on it.
I believe that completely, which would make 100% sense, right?
Yes. But anyway, so, and I only threw that out there only because I don't want anyone to say, "Oh, we're putting our like spin on it," because technically they aren't
sense, by the way.
Defined. What?
The idea of, and I don't have the research on this, but Steven uses pronouns, but the gems don't.
Yeah. Because I believe, something in my head tells me that Garnet has said she before, referring to Garnet. Oh, I'm sorry. Amethyst has said it referring to Garnet or Pearl. But I'm pretty sure they'll just say, Amethyst will just say, "Oh, Garnet's mad again." Yeah. Garnet's mad at Pearl. Pearl's mad.
What's funny is that they can script it to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they can totally script it to be a thing where that's possible.
Yeah. But anyway, so I didn't mean to be rude to you. I just don't want anyone to sit back and just send us,
rude to me. Because I was trying to say I wasn't trying to act. I wasn't trying to say like, "Oh, well, Ruby's a girl," right? No, it was just like the idea of, like, I think in this one, someone says something like they refer to Sapphire as she, or Steven says she.
Mhm. Yes. But anyway,
I'm thinking of, not 100%, when they're in the room talking.
Yeah.
Like when Sapphire is talking to Steven, I think he says to Sapphire, "Oh, she would probably feel better if I spoke to her." And I think Sapphire says, "No, it doesn't matter. She won't." That's why.
Actually, she may have. She may have said that.
Yeah.
The point is, No, that's true. That's why. No, to be fair, like that's why I'm saying like I don't have any data either. But what matters mostly is that it is nice to see some of that kind of love going around that you don't really see in general because of course. Well, first of all, you don't see any at all, no matter what gender. Because again, we for some reason the good old USA that we have to be more like, by the way, and not like Sweden. So the USA.
More
I love that.
Good on you, Matthew.
I'm so sorry. This isn't political power. Anyway, so that was the actual title, right? I'm not going crazy? Okay. No, but all jokes aside, it's the good old USA where, you can have people sit back and go, oh, yeah, like, even though this actually isn't intended for children, to be fair. Oh, yeah, Walking Dead? Perfectly fine for my kid. Wait a minute. Are they about to take a shirt off? This is fucking disgusting. How dare this show do that? Mind you, 20 minutes earlier, it was just, and it's like, oh, no. My brains are being ripped out of my head and eaten. I am watching my brains being eaten out of my head. Good family entertainment for the children. Like, don't we live in such a strange country?
What is TV shows get? What is Walking Dead's rating?
No. That's what I said. It's not actually rated for kids, but still, we live in a country that like people will still feel comfortable with. Oh no, it's just a little blood. It's just some gore. Right, for the children. It's a little scary, but that's what it is. But then when it comes to actual like a scene on sex, which I'm not even saying that I would show that to my kids that early. I'm just saying that like it's just crazy that we live in a country because like to me, right, I would just not show them either up to a certain age, either blood, gore, scary movies, or movies with some type of like physical whatever, right? Nothing too crazy, but like the little stuff that some parents will be like, no, not even. Right. But it was so interesting because I've talked to people that have said, oh, no, the horror movies are fake and make-believe. Oh, so then you show them the movie with the people kissing passionately and there being a sex scene that's not explicit whatsoever. And they'd go, no, I'd never do that to my kid. That they're too young for that. And it's just like, but you literally said Nightmare on Elm Street's cool. Or, Friday the 13th is cool. Well, again, it's make-believe. It's fake. It's like, yes, but
No, I know.
Like, it's just crazy. It's just, it's crazy. But again, moving it to children's stuff, to actual children's stuff, the idea of hand-to-hand combat. No blood, of course, because, again, the censors don't like blood. Because, again, just little things, like hand-to-hand combat, just fine. There will be a winner. We will fight to the death. Will there be blood involved? God, no. All right, will the main character eventually go on to wed the female? Oh, wed? Yes. All right, will they kiss? God, no. You sick, gore-loving pervert.
That'll be it. Like, the scene where they kiss will be, you may now kiss the bride, and that becomes the big thing.
Yeah, but even then, it's just like...
I distinctly remember as a kid, there was a lot of, like, you may now kiss the bride, and then groans from the crowd, from the children. Like, yeah.
Yes. But it's just so funny because now, mind you, I'm not saying kids want that. I'm just saying that, like, this is actually the perfect representation of a scene like that where it's just the two are kissing and Steven is just all the kids in the audience. Just, Because that's how it is when mom and dad are just like, oh, love you, sweetie, love you too. Kids are like, Mom, Dad, stop it. Couple, stop it, Parent, guardian, stop it. But
it's nice.
Yeah, it is. It's just so funny. It's just so funny that, again, because you're talking about, we both understand, like, kissing on the neck, that is a little bit different than what we usually would see on television, And it's just like, yep, and some people would say that's the devil, but when they're essentially crushing these beings into grinding them into dust, before we knew that they were being balled up. Look, grinding into dust is just, good, family entertainment.
Right, no, I agree.
Kids, watch the scary beings that have been morphed into one that are essentially hands, feet, and, watch the creatures. Watch those. Those are good. But if those two are kissing, by God.
I feel like Sugar's got a little bit of leeway with this show, regardless of
Well, I mean,
what's
look at
going
Adventure
on.
Time.
I'm glad.
I mean, I haven't
True.
watched Adventure Time, but that one has a lot of leeway from what I hear. You know, Cartoon Network is very cool about letting, understanding that, like, hey, these shows are for kids, yes, but teenagers will watch, and let's not talk down to anyone. That's what I think, about certain shows. The idea of just not talking down, the idea that, and I talk about this in wrestling all the time, a lot of people try to watch WWE Monday Night Raw, and if they don't like the product, that's fine. If they do like it, that's fine too. But the problem is that some people that don't like it act as if the issue is this mystical, scary PG rating. Ooh! It's like the Boogeyman, which is funny because WWE actually had a character called the Boogeyman. But it's as if it's the Boogeyman. Like, and then they tried to write a script for a wrestling show, but it was PG-13. Oh, God, don't tell me one like this. We're sitting alone around a campfire. It's just so terrifying.
Yeah, and it's not like PG-13 can't be interesting.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, Steve Universe is PG-13, and if it's not, and it's just PG, well, then that's even fucking, that's quote-unquote worse, arguably, because you have such a nice, fun, coherent story with these restrictions. Right, same thing with Gravity Falls. If that's PG-13, which I feel like it is, there are these restrictions on it that the same ones that WWE Raw has.
Well, I
right?
mean, I know that the ratings are slightly different for TV, right? Like, we say PG-13, but, like, aren't they, like, TV7, TV something? Like, or am I crazy?
I mean, it's funny. I say PG-13 because I believe that this is the PG era, so it's PG rated. But I know, like, I think they said that Raw technically would be PG-13 if we moved it to a movie, like rating
Which
scale.
Which is true.
Yeah. But still, it's just so funny because the idea of just, it's like it was rated PG. Like, it's just, we need to have wrestling with boobies. There needs to be boobies, and there also needs to be mud fighting. Thank you. Have a nice day. Like, what do you...
Mm-hmm.
It's just so stupid to me. I'm sorry. And if anyone believes that, again, I'm sorry. It's just like, you look at something like Steven Universe and Gravity Falls, and you see that ratings mean nothing if you're able to tell a coherent story. Not saying Raw doesn't. I'm just saying if you believe it's not telling a coherent story. Right? Okay. I'm not.
I'm saying
it doesn't do it all the time. But the point is that even if you're saying that, right, you know this much, Tish. It has nothing to do with rating.
If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably going to get buried by John Cena.
Oh. We went for two completely different... I thought it would just be Ducktective.
I'm okay with that.
Wah, wah, wah. Anyway,
the alternative would have been, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, John Cena will still kick at it too.
Okay. I hope there's a decent amount of crossover people are laughing. Or, if not, go watch Monday Night Raw. But apparently not with my cable provider.
One or two people, our entire live audience, must have tuned in thinking that this is Raw.
I'm so sorry. I mean, I changed it, right? So I changed the name. So, I mean, you can see now it's not Raw. But anyway, so we move on to Onion Friend. Not as we wrap things up, but I mean, I don't know if we have a lot to say about Onion Friend because, I mean, I will say this much. I liked the episode, right, because we got some backstory on Amethyst and Onion's family. But, not just that. As I said earlier, we get a storyline reason for why Amethyst wants to stay over. And it keeps the continuity going. So even though it's a filler episode, it doesn't just throw away everything else that's going on. And it's a way that we really get to know Onion more because really he's just been this kid randomly running around a town or a city that we assume is so small, even though it's called a city, it's so small and close-knit that literally a potential 6-7-year-old could just run around and he's safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a tightly knit community, and we've seen a lot of Onion, but we haven't actually had understanding of Onion. And I like this episode because it made me appreciate him a little more. Because for a while, he was a heel for me.
He was a bad guy. That's the point. We can't just use insidey terms. Look at this guy over here with all his insidey terms.
My bad.
Insidey wrestling terms. It's okay. You're going to have to buy some people some alcohol, but it's okay. The point is that, I agree. For the longest time, it was like, Onion, you're a little jerk. But this time, he just became such a weird dude that I think it was just purely funny to me. Just the idea of just, the mashed potatoes.
He doesn't understand certain things, which is okay. But, like, for example, like, showing Stephen the tape of the birth.
Oh, my God. That was them pushing. I was like, how are...
so hard. Because I was like, what's going on at first? It's like, is that your mom? And it's like, okay, Yellowtail. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what kind of joke are they making here?
And then it's just, oh, a hospital setting. Oh, good God.
That's, yeah,
Happy
the
birthday,
phrasing, I was like, did they write that way to make it sound like a porn joke at first? And it made me laugh, because...
Yeah, there was a chance they were trying to fuck with us. And then it was just, oh, no, it's just his birth. And it's like, that's still fucking with us.
Which is pretty
Literally.
funny.
Like, they should have had the camera right on that fucking movie because there was a stork there. All right? There was a stork there, and he was delivering the baby in the hospital.
Yeah, what's funny to me is I can imagine there must be at least, like, 5 parents out there who are really mad.
5? I would say there are a lot more than 5 that are just like, are you fucking serious? There has to be more than 5.
But yeah,
because this isn't like a sex thing. This is just like I told them about the stork. They came up to me and they said Steven Universe didn't have a stork.
It's like, it was screams of excitement from the stork bringing them the kid.
Not just that. Here's the funny thing, right? Steven Universe didn't have a stork, Mommy. They also have living gems. Go to bed. But
It's true.
Oh, by the way, I love that line. Just it's okay, Amethyst. Like you can just you just be you. You be a rock, because that's what you are, right?
I loved a lot of the exchanges between Amethyst and Vidalia, like comedy-wise. So it's like, look at you. You're in slippers now. You do not know what I've done in these slippers. I'm like,
and then Amethyst not knowing, like, wait a minute, but what have you done in those slippers?
That's what I mean. Like, it was just a really, really fun little, like, the exchange was really fun. It felt really natural, and I liked that a lot. Like,
also, I like that in a way. I know it sounds strange. I like that their family isn't that well off, in the sense that it seems more real and grounded. Like, oh, whenever Sour Cream DJs, the house just blows up. Wow, your house is jacked.
Yeah, and also they had, like, what, noodles and
butter.
Noodles and butter?
Noodles and butter. Yeah. And, Onion just had mashed potatoes.
Yeah, like, in a weird way, it was really relatable, too. We go from the motel episode to this, and it's like, they're addressing the struggle.
Yeah. It was very interesting, because, you would think that it's just, I'm sure there's some people, doing a little bit better if they're, business owners, but I mean, to be fair,
he's doing pretty well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But he's a fisherman, right? Yellowtail's a fisherman. So, not that he can't bring in money. I mean, they have a house, but he's a fisherman. So, also the dynamic of a family, I think, was also nice. They brought it up again in here as well. This dynamic of just, Yellowtail and Sour Cream are always at each other's throats, which makes sense because he's a 16-year-old, and that's his dad. And that is not, it's not always the case, but that was my case, where, like, I'm not, it's funny, too. It's like, Matt, were you a rebel? No, not at all. That's what's really funny.
About the idea of, like, I think if you remember earlier in the episodes, right?
My dad doesn't get me, right?
Yeah. This is why I really liked it, because, like, there's a lot of references to this stuff. He's like, yeah, my dad's always like, wah, 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 wah. And I'm like, just let me be a DJ, Dad.
Mm-hmm. Oh, because he mentioned his dad was a fisherman, right? Like, he wanted to be in the family business or something? Yeah.
Yep.
So it's so interesting to have, oh, wait. Did he say that his dad was wah, 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 wah?
Yeah.
That's how, you know why that's funny, right?
Yeah, because Yellowtail doesn't speak.
No, that's how Onion speaks.
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
That's what's really funny to me. It's just like, literally just, wah, 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 sweetie, it's your kid. Onion, wah, 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 sweetie, it's yours.
It makes me laugh, because I always think, like, I think they use a sound like wah, 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 because it feels like a Charlie Brown thing, and I'm totally okay with it.
I assume that, yeah. But yeah, also I think the saddest thing, the thing that I really didn't like, I was really weird about them showing. I understand that it's a real thing, it happens, it's like, it's the world. but it's not like, because you would think, oh, Matt, it's the birth, and it's like, well, that was weird. But I think that I felt more icky. I was with Steven with the whole, oh, hey, look at your little mouse friend. And the second I saw him, I thought, no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is this his cage? No.
Well,
And
he
it was
didn't
a
eat them,
snake,
though,
and I
which
thought,
is nice. The mouse is alive.
that could have been a different mouse.
What?
You think it was the same mouse? I don't believe it was the same mouse.
Yes. It
Okay.
doesn't inherently show him putting the mouse in the
True.
cage. I thought that
True.
was the implication. Like, the idea was like, no, I wouldn't kill the mouse. You liked it.
Okay, fair enough.
Because they were trying to make Onion more likable here.
Yes. Well, he opens his mouth and there's a mouse in there. I don't know. It's just,
That's what I mean.
So I have to
That's
admit,
a likable person.
Yeah. But you know what's interesting? It also shows that parenting style, one that I would think I'm a fan of, but not, I don't know about to that degree. The idea of just let kids be kids, man. Just gotta let them be free.
Kids gotta express themselves.
No, and I like that. But I think it just kind of draws a line for me when it's just, I smash mashed potato. And I'm like, that's food. You need to eat food.
But remember, Onion has this weird thing with food. I mean, Stephen explained. He mentioned it too. He's like, you don't even eat it.
Yeah, no, that's weird. Like, I don't know how he gets nutrients.
How he sustains.
But what?
Photosynthesis, man.
Basically. No, not that. Just mostly just like, not even just food. Just in general, just like, to me, it's just like, there are certain things that it's just like, listen, little child of mine, sweet child of mine, I want you to express yourself, but there is a mouse in your mouth. Now, I want you to express yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a mouse in your mouth right now.
Now,
so,
like, parenting-wise, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I totally understand. I'd freak out over a mouse in my kid's mouth under any circumstances ever.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I believe that you should let kids, or at least, it depends on the kid, of course, because, different parenting techniques for different kids. But I do believe the expression thing does work, because it's just like, why do you, like, what do you want to do? You want to make your kid feel boxed up and, and feel like they have to do this a specific way, and if they don't, they're failures? That's great. That's a great way to raise your kid. But, so no. But at the same time, it's just, with a lot of stuff that Onion does, I'm just like, I would be stricter. But I still consider myself free. A little, well, again, it's mostly just the food, because to me it's just like, food costs money. And if they don't have enough money as it is, it's just like, no, don't do that, no. Or with the mouse.
Agreed.
No, don't do. Or it's just like letting your kid watch the birth. It's like, not yet. Not yet.
That was interesting to me, because it wasn't like he stumbled across it.
That's super
hippie. It
was
labeled Happy Birthday Onion, and I was just sitting there like, good God.
Unless he found it by accident, and that's just like in their house, and he found it because he's he is very crafty.
He is crafty.
It does feel like it was on purpose. It feels like it was on purpose because, well, I mean, again, the mom's a hippie, and not a problem, right? She's very relatable and likable. It's just that she's a fucking hippie.
I like Vidalia as like the wild child, like the adventurous soul, and it makes sense because of that she's on good terms with Amethyst. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What I think was really funny, by the way, just the idea that, just because Greg was heavy and awkward doesn't mean that he didn't have admirers from afar.
I love that, too, that short little line, like, oh, yeah, he was hot. It's like, it's not a bad thing. Greg was hot. And I smiled. I'm like, good.
Of course, it's like, of course, like, it's really interesting, like, oh, that's really nice. Like, of course there'd be people that would feel that way. But, of course, that's not how it went because he was in love with Rose. So, boom.
Yeah.
And she got married, so boom, that's life. You can be like, oh yeah, he was hot,
right,
but not
it's
like,
totally okay to acknowledge someone being attractive.
Yeah. But I also just Steven's face, like, I don't know you. Thank you, old lady that knows me from when I was young.
Yeah, no, I think it was definitely funny because, like, obviously she knew Amethyst, and Steven was just confused because in his head he's like, I know what goes on in their lives, but I've never met this person.
Oh, I thought of it more like, when you just have friends of the family come over and they're like, wow, you're so big now. Remember when you were so cute and I used to pinch your cheeks and you're like, haha, thank you, friend of family.
Yeah, but I guess the way I look at it is because of the fact, like, he doesn't know who Vidalia is.
No, that's the thing. But there are friends of the family that you would meet for the first time, let's say when you're like 10 or 12, and you don't know who they are, but they know you very well, and they know your family very well, and you're like, hi. You know, like, oh, you look just like your dad. Your dad was cute when he was younger, and you're like, yeah, haha.
Yeah, I got that a lot growing up. Like, like on the phone. I don't know about you, but I got a lot on the phone. Where, like, as puberty hit, my voice actually, like, developed. I got a lot
I don't know.
messages.
I disagree. It happened here.
Yeah, I got a lot of things where it was like, oh, you sound just like your dad now. And I'm just sitting here like, thanks. I appreciate that.
Puberty, you say? I know of the concept.
Thanks, Yugi. I knew you'd understand.
God damn, I didn't realize. I hate when I do. I knew it was a deeper voice, but I hate when I don't realize I'm doing a voice. Like, sometimes I'll go, wow, and you're like, you did walking again, and I'm like, crap.
Yeah, you do that a lot.
Wow. You know, this episode of Steven Universe was really good. I was really a fan.
Apparently, an update politically,
Wow.
Clinton and Sanders are still essentially in a dead heat tie in the Iowa caucus.
I just love how this is just a running thing. Like, it's just politics, man. Politics, man.
Hey, there's only one Iowa caucus, and it happens to be on a night that we're podcasting, and I believe in keeping our followers and listeners educated.
No, that's true. I mean, we can't just let this caucus go by. I believe we have to firmly grasp it, sit on it, and ride this caucus to the end.
What is a caucus?
Other than something we enjoy saying this time of year.
Caucus.
But anyway,
Caucus,
all jokes aside, though,
caucus.
I do like that we got to see that, you know, Onion was just, like, he's a giver, you know what I mean? Like, oh, look, you know, like, I'm giving this to you. Like, really? Yeah,
that
you know,
made me really happy. Because Steven he realized, like, okay, misunderstood Onion might be, but he has nice intentions.
Thank you, Yoda. The reason why I like it is because you can see that you did that as Yoda. You can't lie to me.
Obviously, there was no voice there, but I really laughed at, like, I sat there and I'm like, apparently I did think like Yoda.
Oh, you didn't actually mean to do that? Oh, shit.
I was trying to form thoughts and they happened. But they
misunderstood Onion is.
Another reference I don't understand.
Perimeter around 4 must create fucking
if
bad
only
forever.
There was a set of movies, perhaps 7 of them, that I could easily watch to understand where that reference might have been from. Oh,
nope, Yoda wasn't in the 7th one. You fucked up this time, buddy. You fucked up this time. Anyway, so
he dies.
But you never said that. You said Yoda was not in the 7th one.
So he's alive.
Sure. As if his ghost in one of the movies didn't fucking prove anything.
If he dies, I'm going to kill you.
He was a ghost alongside Obi-Wan and whatever year Anakin wanted to put in that
I like
day.
how you're saying that as if I've seen it.
You have, because you've seen the really bad Photoshop.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have, because we talked about how shitty it was.
I'm just being mean. I've seen Donald Trump alongside that scene.
Oh, God, that's right. You did, actually, because I showed you the Donald Trump as Darth Vader video.
Correct,
anyway,
you did.
Getting back to, but let's talk about Onion. I really do enjoy the fact that he was, he's really giving as a person. But what's interesting is I think he looks up to Steven as an older brother because his brother is so much older that it's hard for them to connect, I think.
That's an interesting thought process. I didn't.
Because Steven is a little bit closer to his age, I would assume.
Right, I didn't realize that. That's a good thought, actually. Not even, messing with you. Because for a while, I just assumed Onion was closer to Steven than I thought in age. And
well, that's one. But also the fact that, we didn't know he had a brother. Now that we do, it's like, oh, why is he not hanging out with his brother? Well, his brother's listening to music, right? His brother's listening to music. Then his brother's going upstairs to DJ. That is no room for Onion.
Yeah, and even at the dinner table, he wears his.
That's what I was saying. Even
he wears
even eating.
Right.
Yeah. So that's probably also why especially because you have Vidalia being the way Vidalia is, just walk around town. Walk around town. So Onion just walks around town. Oh, he also sits by the shore a lot, waiting for his dad probably, by looking out at sea because his dad's a fisherman.
Mhm.
Which is really cute now that you think about it. But yeah, so overall, I really did like this episode. I think it was a good one. And I like Keystone Motel a bit more, but I didn't hate this one at all. I know you felt weird about Onion when you first saw him. I think maybe you had to watch it. Because I remember the first time we talked about, Onion in this episode, you were like, it was really weird, man. But I think it's grown on you.
Yeah, no, because I guess it's still really weird to me. Because when you put it in perspective, he has created a room that he can access through his vents, which is accessible through a post from the hole in the wall. He's got a pet snake that he may or may not actually feed mice to, even though we didn't see him do that. Even by not feeding the mouse, to him, he kept it in his mouth, and he was very comfortable smashing a mashed potato sculpture of Steven, essentially, and showing Steven his birth. So when you look at it, it's kind of jarring. Onion's a very odd character. But
the only good thing about this entire episode that you can sit back and go, wow, that's accurate. And it also reflects, not just me, it reflects you as well. The idea of just, having all those guys, right? And then he takes out one and there's nothing inside it. And he goes, oh, you have the invisible guy.
I was so mad.
Because that's fucking marketing 101. As far as we know, there's no plastic in there. It's just complete. It's just nothing.
They threw their cute little equality moment in there too, because they purposely put the gals in they had her in a hard hat, and then they had her in the Indiana Jones thing,
the cowboy stuff. I
was like, that's nice. Some people are like, oh, the show goes overboard with that stuff. No, I think it's cool. This is the message we need to get out there.
I think it's weird for saying they go overboard with it, because it's just again, here's what I look at, right? When I see stuff like that, people saying, oh, the show goes overboard with it. But think about all the other shows that aren't doing this. So in other words, for every show that's we are a show, let's say, not saying that this show is one of them, even though you can be considered, but a show that has human beings, so, real people, saying, hey, we are gay characters, right? All of us are gay in this show. For every show that has that, there are at least 10 that are just hey, all of us are straight. So it's come on. You know what I mean? What the fuck are we doing here? As much as Friends isn't a new show, right? We can at least talk about How I Met Your Mother and talk about how everyone on the main cast, the main everyone, not anyone's brother or anyone's cousin, everyone in the main cast of How I Met Your Mother was straight. And that show was pretty new, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying we have to shoehorn anybody in. I'm just saying the idea is that, different people exist. So, for every show that will say, we have an entire gay cast or even just 2 gay characters, you'll have at least 10 shows. Or hell, even if it's just Matt at most. Still, 10 shows are a lot of shows that are just not focusing on any characters that are either gay or of color.
Yep.
So, it's kind of funny when it's just, Steven Universe goes overboard with it. Okay, look at all the other shows that don't even touch it at all. Maybe we can come to a common ground here and understand, hey, common ground is look, overboard, quote unquote, just know that you don't see this. Also, the other thing too, it's the idea that you might not see this a lot, so you also might not. To you, it might not to you as in Tish Ram. To you, a person, it might seem like a lot to you because it's just not part of your life.
Yeah,
or it's just harder for you to accept that just happens. Yeah. Now, I'm not trying to say that they're bigots or anything. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just trying to say that the idea is that if you're not around something, it can seem different and jarring to you. The same way that let's talk about heterosexual love scenes. Although again, why are we putting genders on these gems? But still, heterosexual love scenes, right? Someone could say, "Oh, right, this is stupid. I don't see how they have any chemistry, and none of this makes sense." All right, have you ever had a boyfriend or girlfriend? No. Well, again, not trying to say that someone's, some kind of stupid, neckbeard virgin. No. Just the idea of if you don't have certain experiences, certain things that are actually pretty normal, or at least normal to the person who's writing it, might seem really foreign to you.
Mm-hmm.
So try to look at other perspectives and other viewpoints before saying something like, oh, this is dumb or whatever. Unless really, like, you sit there and you're like, they're having sex right now and they said that they love each other and it's the 40-minute mark. And in the movie, they haven't said days have passed. So we're expecting that they've done this in 40 minutes. Like, then, no matter who you are, you can be like, that is dumb.
Agreed.
Because 40 minutes. But anyway, so we're wrapping up the show. Anything you want to say before I go on my social media spiel?
No, do your thing. I mean, I know it felt a little bit like back and forth tonight, but believe it, anyone who's listening, was confusing to us based on what we had, so we hope you're all right. Thank you for listening, and thank you for understanding about the cancellation, if so.
Because we had a lot, we definitely had, like I said, the Raw planned, and then kind of like a little after show of just Steven Universe party, and that didn't work. So, kind of jumbled us a little bit, threw me off my game. But I think that, we still had a lot of fun, and we're still talking about Steven Universe. I mean, we had some random political stuff thrown in, but I'm not saying I hate it. But
you better
random political stuff thrown in. Anyway, so again, I would like to thank you all for listening in. Before we end, though, I would like to talk about our merchandise, right? Our merchandise website, cafepress.com/TGOTR merchandise. Definitely, we have a lot of different fun T-shirts there related to our podcast and some, fun wrestling quotes that we made up and more, from our wrestling podcast and a lot of fun stuff. So definitely check out cafepress.com/TGOTR merchandise. We also have merchandise there for our Let's Plays, and you can find those on YouTube. So if you go on YouTube and type in Those Guys Play, you can actually find our Let's Plays. We've done a lot of different stuff. We've done wrestling stuff, you and I, Tish. We've also done, for our Halloween special, we did Dreaming Mary. We did for our first season finale, we did 007, Tomorrow Never Dies. And I believe, and for Christmas Day, we did Operation Robocod. With James Pond 2, Operation Robocod.
Yay.
So we did a lot of fun stuff. And Season 2 is beginning soon, because we're doing this live. So Season 2 is beginning soon. And, it's going to be a lot of fun, right? And, I'm happy that you guys have been watching. Also, like I said, merchandise, we have Those Guys Play shirts, as well as coming up soon is Matt Beats Games from his childhood shirts, right, based on the different games that I've played. So far I've played Mega Man X, but there are more on the way. Recently I've uploaded Mega Man X with my face, right, because for the first 3 episodes we were doing it, I was doing it solely audio, but I decided, you know what, let's have my face in this, because apparently that's what was missing. And, I died 1,000 deaths, and it was really sad. So watch my pain and agony while I play Mega Man X.
Yeah, you had a lot of trouble with this one, didn't you?
Oh, boy. No, these last 2. Yes, the next week is going to be even worse. If you like this week's pain, next week will be even more palpable. You can taste it. Anyway, so we have, Those Guys Play on YouTube. We also have Those Guys on the Radio. Search up Those Guys on the Radio, and you will be able to find our podcasts on there as well. And I'm constantly updating them with new podcasts. But, with our newer podcasts. But if you want to see all the podcasts we've done thus far in real time, you can find us on our website, thoseguysonthe.radio.tumblr.com, or our Facebook /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio, our Twitter @ThoseGuysRadio, and our Instagram /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio. Also, you can find us on iTunes as well by searching up Those Guys Radio or Those Guys on the Radio in the podcast section, and you will find our shows there. We also can be found on... Wait, no, I got them all because I mentioned YouTube earlier. Also, our Gmail, thoseguysontheradio@gmail.com. You can email us there for different promotional opportunities. We can promote you on our, on our shows. Or you can email us about different shows that you would like us to do. If you're like, oh, wow, Matt, I really love Mucha Lucha. We're doing Mucha Lucha one day for Tish.
I wonder why you would say that specifically.
We're doing... Oh, Matt, I love Beyblade. Right? So little things, different shows maybe from your childhood, maybe you've seen recently, saying, hey, those guys, we like, I like this. How do do you guys like this? Maybe it would be cool if you guys did a show about this. So again, those guys on the radio @gmail.com, or on our Tumblr or any of our social media accounts. You can follow us and, talk to us there, and we'll get back to you. I mean, it'll be a lot of fun because we love hearing from you guys. So, we promoted everything.
Sounds
and
good.
We have a lot more fun stuff coming up this next week. So Steven Universe, by the way. Steven Universe kind of, not a Steven Universe bomb, but it's definitely a Steven Universe grenade, I think. Is that a better?
Is coming at you soon.
No. Steven Grenade is not coming at you.
Really?
But we're definitely going to be releasing some more Steven Universe stuff, trying to get caught up to. And we always say that we're trying to get caught up, but
so
it's just, we definitely have some stuff.
Coming at them?
We have some more Steven Universe stuff coming up. We'd like to thank you all for listening again. And if there's anything you want to say, Satish, before we go, even though you already said some stuff, anything else you want to say?
Our final update, it looks like in the Iowa caucus, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders will be splitting the Electoral College votes from the senators there.
Thank you. We'll talk about this after the show. Thank you, Satish, and good night, everybody. Say good night, Satish.
Thank you, politics. Good night, Satish.